series of images and posts was when you cut your lip and you went to the emergency room and you were taking pictures of yourself like 2 in the morning or whatever it was.
It was horrible.
And getting stitches.
I was distracting myself.
Ah.
I mean, here I am. I had TV the next day. I was on my way. This is a horrible story if you haven't seen my blog on it.
And if you're squeamish, don't look at the
I had
photos,
just gotten
actually.
back from a trip, and the next day to Bedford, New York, which is near enough to Mount Kisco that they have a good hospital. And I had to leave my house because it was this blizzard. And I thought, well, I better leave tonight because if the blizzard really sets down 3 feet of snow, I'm not going to get to the Today Show at 6 o'clock the next morning. So I leaned down to say goodbye to Francesca, half of the Daily Wag, that blog. And she lurched up, it was dark, and she lurched up and bashed me right here. And I didn't feel good, and I looked down at her and I said, Francesca! And then the blood started. And this is 10 o'clock at night in a blizzard. And luckily my driver was there waiting for me, and I called the hospital. I couldn't speak too well because of all the blood in my mouth. But I said, please find a plastic surgeon, and I'll be right over to the hospital. My daughter drove up in a ridiculous car in the blizzard, and she got stuck. But finally everybody was at the hospital, and I was distracting myself. And they were good pictures.
They were.
Yeah, they were great pictures.
That was a photojournalistic essay, right?
And I did comment about, and I helped build a new emergency room at Mount Kisco Hospital at Northern Westchester, but they hadn't quite finished it, so we were still sitting in the old emergency room with wallpaper, with floral wallpaper in an emergency room. And I remember commenting on that. The new emergency room, please visit us if you have an emergency in Northern Westchester, because it's a great modern hospital.
No more floral wallpaper? No. Well, speaking of that kind of transparency, I really am interested in the amount of sharing you do on your show. I'm thinking of, I've heard you make political comments now, I've heard you make comments about men in your life or not in your life, all of these things that I feel like you've had these daily interactions with people for so long, but do you feel that the advent of social media has changed the level of personal sharing you do? Oh,
there's no limit to what you can share if you want to. And in a business like ours, unfortunately, I am slightly fettered, or more than slightly. Because, I mean, if you make a political comment, you can lose half your audience. Like half. I mean, it's like 50-50 in America, right? Sort of. And we hope it's a little bit more on one side than the other this time around, but I'm not going to say which side. So it can't be political. You can be personal, and people love the personal. They do. And the most page views of any blog I've ever done are the personal ones. When my mom died, for example, we got millions of page views. And that's nice, because people care. And you see when people care, they respond. And yet Martha Unleashed is not exactly the right positioning for me. It would be fun. Oh boy, I would have a lot of fun, but I have to change my name.
Well, I think there's that interesting, because your brand is all about quality, right?
I'm all about quality.
And you and your brand, quality, and some would say perhaps perfection. And yet what you're able to show through social media and on your show is the little foibles that happen, and you've always done blooper reels as well.
Oh, yes, the bloopers are fun. I wish I had more, but I'm just so perfect.
That must be rough.
Not to have a blooper. Look for the bloopers. They have to look for them. But it's very funny that you talk about that, because I would love to have a late night comedy show. I mean, I would be good at that.
I would like to see that.
Yes, and maybe.
What network do you want to be on?
Oh, we were talking. I think PBS would be the perfect spot.
So everybody, send your tweets and your blog posts and your emails
to PBS. Send it to PBS. They need a late night talk show.
Late night with Martha Stewart. What would you serve your guests?
I would actually want this to be modern culture. Because modern culture, everybody wants to know about, what we're talking about right now is modern culture. What's going on in the heads of Americans, especially women, that makes them come to a conference like this to share their ideas. I mean, this is modern culture that we're sitting here, it's live. And so many things have happened in the last 20 years since I started Martha Stewart Living. The world has changed drastically. And I think about it a lot because I think about how are we spending our time? Are we as productive as we once were? Can we be as productive as human beings as we once were? Or are we spending too much time doing other things and not the things that we should be doing? I mean, think about it. Those are the big social questions for me. And I have to curb my appetite for a lot of the stuff that we are talking about.
I think we all struggle with that, the balance.
I curb my desire to tweet to 5 minutes a day.
Really?
5 minutes, and then I make a misspelling, and then they think I'm drunk. I get so many. They do. Oh, you're drunk again, Martha, because I misspelled corporation or something. And it's unfair, but I laugh at it because they think that a misspelling is a drunken response.
So along those lines, we had a question from a community member, Whitney Moss, who first of all wants to thank you for inspiring her creativity.
Thank you.
And she wanted to know how you relate to being considered a symbol of perfection and how you define aspiration and how you help the rest of us sort of, what's our path to aspire? How do you define that?
Well, I was talking to Hannah Millman, who is an astute crafter at Martha Stewart Living. Is Hannah here? I don't think so. She's busy today crafting. But Hannah has worked with me ever since I started the magazine, and but she reads a lot of blogs. And I said, "What does blogging mean to you, Hannah?" And she agreed with me 100%, and these are the adjectives we discussed this morning, that you must be personal, you must be passionate, you must be sharing, you must have an openness with your readers or your consumers, whoever they are. You must also be able to advertise. And I love that because Hannah's not, you don't think that's going to come out of Hannah's mouth, amateurization of the word.
And explain what that means.
Well, money. You make money at it. I mean, aren't you all out there to make money at your blog, sort of? Yes.
A lot of us.
Well, it's not about making money. It's about paying for your effort. I mean, you're all intelligent women out there. You are all trying to so I hope make a living. I mean, it's a good thing. It's good to be productive and earn and contribute.
It's good to attach value to the skills and creativity we're bringing to it.
And it's also, you become a reporter. Little by little, you're finding yourselves as reporters. Diligent, honest, forthright reporters, I hope. That's what I look to blogs for. I also look that you become kind of a journalist. You might find that you're a really good writer. You might find that you are a really good communicator. And the better you are, the more popular you become, and the more people read you, and the more people tweet you, and the more people communicate with you, and it goes on and on like that. And I think that that's really the story of my career, because I've tried very hard to always keep, when people say, "Who are you doing all this for?" I say, well, it's for people like me. And it is people like me. I still clean out the chicken coop. I still make sure those chickens are well cared for and fed. My horses are beautiful. I go down every night and I feed them and look at them and pet them and talk to them. And, you have to if you're going to be real. You're not leaving that all up. You're not delegating everything to everybody else. My blog is a very popular blog, and every single day, like yesterday, I posted, I don't know how many pictures, 60 or 70 pictures of a patrons party I had up in Maine at my house last Friday. It was for the Garden Club of Mount Desert. And it was a fabulous party and such a beautiful night. And we showed the food and the preparation and the trays and the bar and all that stuff. And that's an openness that I think is missing in a lot of reporting. I try to be open. I try to also compliment in there. I complimented one woman's flower arrangements. The woman wrote back to me yesterday. She said, "Martha, I didn't even know what a blog was. My friends sent me to your blog yesterday. It's the first blog I ever read, and thank you for your compliment. And this is some, fabulous woman, but she didn't know. And now she will know that she can get information.
And now she might start one. Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
She's like Garden Club of America president, blah, blah, blah. She had the best exhibit of tomatoes and nasturtiums I've ever seen in a garden up there.
Want to give her a shout out? Do you remember?
Yes, Diana, Mister, you're fabulous.
All right. Yeah. So I know your new show, speaking of PBS and speaking about helping people